question of who I am, who any of us are, strip away all the labels that are assigned to you that really don't mean anything, names, nationalities, and really look at your character. Most people can describe adjectives about different, vagaries of personality. Like, oh, I'm very patient, or I'm very loyal, or I'm very, well, the negative ones too, of course. And it's like, well, nobody's that all the time, and everybody is to some extent. So we embody these things more than we are these things. And so even if you say, well, that's what I am, then what you are is the proportionality of a filter on these pre-existing conditions, because everybody in a rage is the same person in any particular emotional state, embodies the characteristics of that emotional state. But as per definition, it means they're just feeling a personality flow through them. They're not that all the time. Describe someone as angry, and he might be, or she might be angry most of the time, not angry all the time. Even if they identify as angry, it is just a condition and just somewhat circumstantial. You might argue some people are just that way all the time, but that's a very far extreme that may or may not exist. But for most of us then, sometimes we're patient, sometimes we're impatient, sometimes we're happy, sad, whatever spectrum you want to apply, you find that you're defining your personality based on a rating of how much of something you are. That's very frail, isn't it? So, who am I? I'm a construction of filters of these things that pre-exist in time, or and I have this lens of intelligence in which I need to examine or define my universe around me. But it's like all of those things are descriptions of levels and limits on pre-existing things that have extremes outside of any one person's capabilities, deficiencies, or personality tendencies. Right? There's anger that goes beyond human anger. There's sadness that goes beyond human sadness. We can all feel and taste that. As a human, you pull back from these emotions. You even pull back from the happy ones. At least most of us do. You can't just live in emotional states all the time. As a human being, you learn to snap out of it. So the extremes usually exist well beyond most human perception. And all we are. So it's a terrible definition, right? So dispense of all the nouns, dispense of the adjectives, if you accept that you are periodically, circumstantially different. Sometimes you are patient, sometimes you're impatient. Sometimes you're loving and sometimes you're hating, and sometimes you're happy and sometimes you're sad, and you're not really any of those things, although you may have tendencies towards them. But describing yourself as such is feeble, maybe most accurate we can get, but if what else, then what are you? Or we can say you're some sort of divine spark. Doesn't answer the question. The real question will always being, what are you in your soul for real? What's that made of? And is that different between us? Are we borrowing from source? Copies of? All fun thoughts? All fun times?